We're letting this whole Jewish thing just fucking slide.
Which we didn't get to Israel yet.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's what you're referring to, and
Well, yeah,
not your accountant.
I'm just still, I'm absolutely horrified that they killed three of their own
Well,
hostages.
I'll somehow tie Rocket Money into Israel.
I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
Always a challenge when I have to read a commercial and Kevin goes, "I want to talk about the dead Jews." But
I said the Jewish hostages.
But what?
Out of and with respect,
Kevin, you were referring moments ago to 3 hostages, Israeli hostages, taken captive by Hamas.
One was like a special forces guy too.
They were tracking. The Israeli military was tracking where these 3 were. They found them. There was gunfight with the captors who were shot and killed. These 3 escape. They leave where they were being held. So you're in this situation to start with. You're taken captive. The cavalry comes, blows away your captors. You get the hell out of Dodge and run for your life. You hole up somewhere else. And this is how, I don't know how this goes as horrifically wrong as it did. But they're yelling. And they make a makeshift white flag.
Is it? I mean,
they're unarmed.
How common is it for the Palestinians to speak Hebrew?
Yeah, they are yelling in Hebrew, right? And they come out, and they're shot and killed.
Well, one actually, the red-haired guy, I think, actually made like a more of a run for it, and he said like almost like please don't kill me in Hebrew, and then the leader realized that he was speaking Hebrew, and called him to cease fire, but that he had already sustained the wounds that killed him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like I'm sitting here thinking that I'm playing a first shooter game. I mean, number one, what we have to look at when these situations happen is, because I've sat and watched. I know it was mainstream media, but I sat and watched, and when they made a call to call back everybody within the age, and I think the cutoff is 46, and it was like if you like you do 2 years, but the cutoff for being called back for the reservists was like 46 years old.
How do they arrive at that? 46.
I don't know.
It just seems arbitrary and strange.
It was I remember because like there was a guy that wasn't an officer, and they were talking to him, and I'm just like, what the fuck? What? This guy's like, he looked like my uncle going back to combat. And but when I like the times that we wrestled in Israel, like you'd get on the bus and there'd be like 2 really hot girls in like Israeli fatigues, and they were just doing their 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole thing. Like everybody does 2 years, and then you're putting that data bank, and then if you're a dual citizen of U.S. and Israel, they were calling those guys back, men and women.
Would you have those girls leave the boots on just for like added something?
I didn't mess around over there, man.
But would you? Would the boots stay? Would the boots stay on? Maybe just for
no, because I don't really feel that I blend in very well over there.
In this particular exchange we're talking about, a dog was sent in first for a recon with a GoPro camera strapped on him, in where they found the hostages. So the Israeli army sent the dog in. The dog was shot by the Hamas captors, but the camera kept rolling, which is how they got this footage to piece together what had actually happened, interestingly enough. Strangely, there was a quote from one of the family members, Iris Haim, mother of Yotam, who was one of the captives. She released a recorded message on Wednesday saying she told the soldiers involved in her son's death that she blames no one except for Hamas. Quote, "We want to see you with our own eyes and embrace you," said Mrs. Haim in an English translation put out by Israel's government. "None of us are judging you or angry with you."
I saw another one of the mothers that was not so forgiving.
Yeah. So the Israeli military is saying that this is a clear violation of, this is Admiral Hagari, said that this is a violation of the open fire policy. They're investigating all of it.
Does that include the absolute stupidest bombs you can possibly? I remember when the Russians were dropping what they were calling unsmart.
Well, dumb bombs, I've heard them referred to as, but is that offensive in the woke culture? I wouldn't say.
I don't want to get canceled over
right, you can't say dumb.
over armament, but they
when you said missiles last week, I thought we were really in danger. Go ahead.
So when Russia was just indiscriminately dropping bombs, 2,000-pound bombs on Kyiv and wherever else, and they were killing tons of civilians, and just basically purposely knocking out power grids as they came closer to the winter. And everybody was just up in arms over these war crimes, and then we turn around, and the evil is Hamas, and we're dropping thousands of 200-pound bombs, and we're knocking out water, sewage. So now and then we're telling them, and I'm saying we because we're as much as involved in this as anybody else is, because we didn't vote to cease fire. So this is America too.
Those support is blind support, let's say, is waning.
It's of course it is. Of course it is, because now you basically have created a situation. I'll let you take this over because we discussed it earlier. But now the Suez Canal is basically shut down because of the
Houthi rebels from Yemen.
Not to be mistaken with Houthi and the Blowfish.
They're not involved in any way.
Not at all. Plus, Darius Rucker's singing country anyway.
Right.
But no, it's
so he looked pretty cool with a hijab on his head. I think he could pull.
He could pull off anything.
Yeah. So why is this happening? Right? Why are the Houthi rebels in the Red Sea attacking ships?
Because their position is, until there's a ceasefire, they're going to continue to make life as miserable as possible for those that have to use the Suez Canal.
So they're attacking commercial vessels with drones and ballistic missiles, and this is to keep.
And lo and behold, guess what's on most of those vessels? It'd be probably that crude oil that is below $3 a gallon again for gasoline.
Well, they've already, major shipping firms like Maersk Hauppauge, BP oil. They've officially said they're diverting vessels away from the Red Sea, which is precisely what they want, create that chaos. But also, think about it. If there's aid or support or weaponry that's going to be coming in to aid Israel, it would also be coming
Yes.
probably through the Suez Canal, through the Red Sea there. So this is, and Iran once again involved, right, supplying the weapons
Yemen.
to the rebels in
Yemen
Yemen,
rebels, the Houthis.
the Houthi and the Blowfish.
It's that the situation of, and to me, it's, I look at it and I say, nobody is dumbfounded that they've got 300 miles of tunnels underneath these areas. I mean, like, that's where they functioned. That's how they functioned, and I don't know. I'm not Israeli. I'm not a commander. I'm not in the service over there. I would just think that, and you see them carry these missiles like out of these tunnels up through these, and that's, I mean, it's like they've got. What are you going to do? You're going to send troops down booby trap tunnels? That's a death sentence.
No, I mean where they thought there were crucial crossings and under buildings with some of the hospitals, if you remember, some of the issues arriving there was with that they had intelligence that there were entranceways to the tunnels under some of those hospitals, so they've been trying to hit them from the top. As far as the Yemen goes, and this doesn't get reported much, the Times of London I had to go to find this. You're not hearing much about it, but there is there is Pentagon activity. They've been deploying a ton of firepower to the region, more than it has in decades, shooting down drones and trying to
Well, they've got
counter-strike these missiles
they
in
actually
the
have.
Red
Don't
Sea.
they have like a 10-country coalition
Sending they
fighting
may.
fighting this whole situation? I think the UK is part of it. I want to think maybe the Canadians. I mean, there's a coalition that's involved in fighting this situation that's occurred with the Houthi. So it's, but I guess that's not mainstream.
They said the exercise is a massive mismatch. This is per the newspaper, the Times of London. U.S. firing munitions worth millions of dollars to counter Houthi drones that cost in the region of $1,000. So I guess they're having some success, but the problem is that it's a scare tactic, and that's keeping some of the shippers from getting the.
Well, they did. They boarded earlier. They boarded and took some of the ships.
Right. I saw that video.
You know, the helicopters. No, it's a fucking shit show. And I mean, and the thing is like, I don't forget that if they don't fucking slaughter the Israelis on the side, I mean, if that doesn't happen, we're not having this conversation. And you know, now they've done this. They start this shit where they start fudging with the numbers. Oh, it wasn't 1,200. Oh, it was this. Oh, well, a lot of the people that were killed at the music festival, those were friendly fire from the Apaches that they sent over because it was hard to indiscriminately know who was what. And they start fudging with it. Doesn't fucking matter. You know, in Prague yesterday, the guy killed 14 and wounded 25. That's fucking huge numbers.
Mm-hmm.
14 dead's huge. If it's 600, if it's 1,200, that's fucking astronomical fucking numbers of civilians that's been killed.
Mm-hmm.
And that can't go like oh, we should just cease fire and fucking we should just like turn the page. That ain't gonna happen. They're not gonna. They have to fucking oust this, and it's like fucking
This is the next 50 years of this conflict is going to be reaction to these months right here.
right.
Any talk about coexisting in some kind of two-state solution, fuck that now after these numbers we're talking about of people slaughtered
But we
on both
at the
sides,
same yeah
civilians.
yeah. It's there's so many fucking. I mean, there's like 29,000 Palestinians have been killed. And that's just the ones that they've been able to. I mean, and then you've got the propaganda that you hope is propaganda that has actual pictures of the devastation and then plot lines to where they're going to fucking build high rises and shit that are going to look at the ocean. And then you hear the other bullshit, the conspiracy theorists that say that right off the shore of Gaza is a gigantic fucking natural gas reserve. And so that was the case. Boy, we didn't do what was that weapons of mass destruction that Iraq had. Just
Oh,
so happened that Iraq was the only fucking oil producing country over there that fucking wasn't an OPEC.
right.
We just decided that fucking we'd attack them.
I don't know. It's a huge mess. That's it. We usually
And you're
surmise our discussions.
fucking worried about AEW.
Not anymore. I know we're just treating them like the Jews now. The MJF has made this clear to everyone in the midst of this conflict.
I mean, to me, it's when you fucking when you bring up pro wrestling and put it in a fucking sentence with what the fuck's going on in our world right now. I'm sorry, man. I mean, I did that job for fucking 30 years. There was never a time where I fucking thought that that was anything more than sports entertainment. I didn't think we were making fucking a social statement. I did wasn't. I would,
Well, clearly he knew that this would be a controversial statement and therefore
Yeah,
carried
but
by
so
the
what is it?
media.
What
It's
does it
kind of
do
his
though?
job.
When you're the champion, it's one thing if you're a heel. He's babyface now.
Hmm. Yeah, but I mean, desperate measures. Desperate times call for desperate measures. You see those houses; they got to do something to get coverage.
Right? Well, it doesn't mean fucking, you know, the fucking the food in the cafeteria is shitty, so you go on a fucking shooting spree. And that's about the fucking. I mean, come on, man. It's fucking. Let's be grown ups.